we're here in Flint and in your home, and you're kind of came back here a few years ago from California because this is where you grew up. Kind of grew up in the '60s and '70s. Kind of talk to me first about your recollections of Flint when you were a kid, and what made you want to come back here. At the time, you came back with one child, and now you have three.
Well, when I grew up, I mean, it's the late 60s, 70s,
Okay.
and then, yeah, I'm not that decade. It was actually a wonderful place in a lot of respects to live in Flint. We had community schools, we had community neighborhoods. I remember walking around trick-or-treating, walking to school, knowing your neighbors, that kind of thing. And there were definitely, disadvantages. There was a lot of segregation and, other things that were going on. But that was par for the course at that time. So it was a really nice place to live in, and this is where my family is. I was born and raised here, so I wanted to come back because this is where I'm from. This is my home.
So you fast forward to 2014. They obviously, to save money, changed the water source. Kind of forgot that small detail of you're supposed to put the anti-coercive resources in there to make sure it doesn't get contaminated with lead. And pretty quickly after that water source change, people started to see changes, children acting out, processing delays, rashes, all the symptoms. Talk to me about you personally with your three kids and your family from when the water was switched. When did you start kind of feeling the impact personally, and in what form?
Well, the water being switched was a result of intentional policy decisions that I was actually a part of a group called the Democracy Defense League, and we were fighting against emergency manager dictatorship. So from the beginning, we did not want someone being placed, in a position of power and authority by the governor to just make unilateral decisions without any democratic participation. So before this switch to the water happened, this was one of the things that we were concerned about in terms of a decision that the financial emergency manager was making. So we were fighting against it even before the switch happened. Then when this...
Just back up a minute. The governor put in this bureaucrat to essentially make the decisions on, where you're getting the water from, which rivers it's coming from, that kind of thing?
Well, he passed a law in Michigan, which is unprecedented, that if a community or a school system is declared bankrupt or in a state of emergency, then he has the power to appoint a financial emergency manager, which would basically take over in place of the mayor and the city council, no ombudsman for municipal districts. And in terms of school districts, one person to make complete decisions without any input from the school board or the parents or things like that. And when he placed a series of financial emergency managers in the city of Flint, one of them made the decision a couple of them made the decision to switch from the Detroit system to using Flint River water. And the rationale was that it was a business decision, that it was strictly to save money. But documents have shown that the ACLU has FOIA'd that isn't even correct, that was a disingenuous statement to begin with. So from the beginning, we were very worried about the water. We were very worried about this appointee by Snyder being able to handle this system because he was just looking at, the bottom line.
I take it that this guy, Snyder, did they consult any, environmental experts, scientists, anybody that knows anything about chemicals to make sure this would be safe?
Well, he does have a lot of links to the fracking industry and to the Nestle Corporation, so we do know that he did consult those people. As for experts, it turns out that no, he wasn't really interested in what the EPA and the MEDIC was saying, although they are becoming the low and middle scapegoats for this situation.
And what was this guy's name? Who? You unilaterally made that decision.
There were a series.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. You need like a flow chart to keep track
Mm-hmm.
of the emergency managers. So the one who made the decision was Darnell Early. And Darnell Early, after he stopped being the emergency manager here, became the emergency manager for the Detroit public school system right after he left here. And you know what happened with the Detroit public school system. So he destroyed our city, our water supply, and then he went on to Detroit to destroy the public schools there.
Surprised he's not running for president.
That'll come.
So they changed the water. Obviously, the community pretty quickly sees an impact. Talk about your family, what you guys experienced pretty soon after.
Well, immediately. I mean, within days, you could smell the change in the water. It was slimy. It was brown. It was yellow. It was different colors. We started getting rashes immediately, itching. And like I said, because,
How old were your kids at the time?
oh my gosh, okay, so they're 15 and 11 now, so 9, 13, I
You
would
have
say.
twins. Okay.
Yes, I have twins.
Okay. So 9, 11, 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we immediately made the decision not to drink the water at all. Now, we were still brushing our teeth with it. We were still washing dishes. We were still cooking with it. Unfortunately, it just didn't occur to us, even though we're educated, we just didn't think it through. We just thought, well, we'll just drink it. We'll drink bottled water. Day by day, hour by hour, it was a different consistency. So it was a different type of gross. In the morning, it would be brown. In the evening, it would be yellow. Sometimes it would have chunks in it. Sometimes it wouldn't. And it was constantly changing. And that kind of scared me that that wasn't even consistent. I had no idea what was coming out of my faucet.
And you had mentioned the things you just didn't know. Were you showering as well?
Yes.
So obviously, it went from seeing all these changes and googly crap coming out, rashes. Were there other issues?
Hair loss. There was a little bit of hair loss. Our hair's been thinning. Mostly the rashes. Our dishwasher broke immediately. There was sediment buildup. If you looked in the back of the cistern of the toilet, you could just scoop out gunk, like it would just build up. Our coffee maker broke immediately. It became very difficult to clean the tub and the toilets. It was just this constant slimy film and sediment buildup, and growth, inexplicable growth. I mean, it just, there's always something wrong with the tiles. You're constantly cleaning.
And externally, you said, we're going to go drink bottled water. We know what happens with gas shortages. There's lines down the block at gas stations. Was it easy to get bottled water, or was it kind of like the Hunger Games at the supermarket?
Well, at that time, we were being told by the emergency manager, the EPA, MEDEC, that everything was fine. All the uptown boosters, the cheerleaders for our city who kind of, support these austerity policies, all said everything's fine.
When you say uptown boosters, what do you mean? Mayor? Who are you talking about?
Yes, the mayor, the Mott Foundation, both of them. The I would call it the nonprofit industrial complex that makes a lot of money off of Flint being in this situation. You have a lot of people who come in from the suburbs who work jobs to help poor people and then leave at the end of the day. There was nothing wrong with the water. We were being told that in spite of the evidence that we were seeing, smelling, touching, that everything was fine. So nobody believed it at first. So the water was readily available. Now we still had to pay for it. We had to transport it.
What were they saying? Did they tell you having hallucinations that you're seeing yellow googly gunk?
Yeah, we were told to lighten up. We were told we were causing unnecessary panic, that we were scaring people. It was like a form of gaslighting. We were being told that we couldn't believe what we were seeing and experiencing. We were ridiculed. Even Dr. Monahana Atisha, when she came out with her lead study, with her scientific study, she was criticized. A noted scholar, like an expert in his field, was also ridiculed.
And you're saying ridiculed by the local and city and state government?
Yes.
Basically?
Yeah, by government organizations as well as individuals and businesses. It was just the media. There was just a complete blackout and any kind of concerns that any of the citizens had. We were told we were crying wolf, that we were crazy, that we were dirty because we had rashes. We were poor, so we couldn't, it was just a matter of, cleaning things better, or, I mean, it was crazy, what we were being told.
And this was around middle of 2014?
Yeah, 2014. Even now we're being told that, everything's okay if you put a filter on your faucet. So, really don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Just go ahead. And it's the same kind of rationale is being used with that. When we express concerns about, showering, bathing, hand washing, we're told just it's fine. It's okay. Even though there have been no tests, nothing done to show that it is safe.
Well, how could they say it's fine if not even a quarter of the pipes that need to be fixed have been fixed? Way less than a quarter.
Oh, wait.
I mean, you said 35 pipes out of thousands of pipes that need to be
Correct.
fixed in homes. And what is there? I mean, for example, when I was in East Chicago, Indiana, they have a whole lead crisis that's decades in the brewing. EPA definitively said water is not an issue and gave an explanation. So, saying the water was coming from, I believe, I forget the river, but this was like an EPA federal, not a low level person saying it's not the water. Here, how do they make that assurances if pipes haven't been fixed? Meaning there's no anti-coercive measures in those pipes.
It's like a don't ask, don't tell policy. They just are making a blanket statement that everything is fine because they're not looking.
Well, what I'm getting at is President Obama was down here. The EPA was down there. A lot of photo ops, a lot of talk about action. So people watching might wonder what happened since then, because Flint was in the media, and Rachel Maddow did a lot, and a lot of media attention. So it seems like there was a lot of attention, and now that it's not in vogue, or the Michigan primary is over, it's kind of like good luck to you. Why is it that so little action has been taken? Because as we talked about, there's supposed to be a fast track program that started earlier this year, 33 pipes, which coincidentally a lot of them were put in when Obama came down. What is the slowdown? Why hasn't more specific scientific studies been done about the lead? Why hasn't more pipes been put in? I've heard things from, they're working on getting contracts, this and that. Doesn't sound like this is considered a crisis anymore, at least by the government.
No, it's not considered a crisis, and nothing has been done since. Well, nothing has been done, period. I mean, except maybe the 33 households that have been fixed. We've been asking a lot of questions that we want answered, like whose homes have been fixed, why were they chosen, what is the time frame, what is going to happen, in the near future, in the long term, where is the money going? Because at this point, it's just disappeared and nothing has changed. Now, what has changed is that Governor Snyder has a PR firm working very diligently for him, putting up nice billboards, sending out brochures. He's got a website to assure us that everything's fine. And he also has criminal defense lawyers being paid for with taxpayer money that are, bolstering his defense and in case he gets charged with anything, which he should be. That's about all that's happened. In the meantime, we're still drinking water that has lead in it. Lead is the least of our worries at this point as well, because there's other toxins and contaminations. A professor at Kettering University is recovering from dysentery.
Explain what that means to the audience. What's dysentery? And to me, I have no idea.
You don't know what dysentery? Well, yeah, it would make sense that you wouldn't know what dysentery is because it's a 19th century disease that you get from water being, contaminated with bacteria. So, when I was little, we played Oregon Trail, and it was that was one of the things that you could die from on your way out west. It's not something that we should be talking about in the 21st century because it involves just basic sanitation and basic community resources that should just be taken care of. So the fact that somebody is getting sick from bacteria in the water is unconscionable.